Hello students, how are you all ma? Hope you are doing good. Today we are going to start another topic from the third unit, that is the types of good. So here, what do you mean by good ma? Good means according to the section 2.7, every movable property is considered as a good other than the cropping, land, shares, money, etc. are not considered as a good. But what are they considered as a good? The trademarks, patent rights, gas, electricity, water, these also will come under the goods here. Every movable property is considered as a good other than cropping, farming, shares, land, money. These immovable properties are not considered as a good, but we also consider some elements like trademarks, patent rights, copyrights, gas, water, etc. These may consider as a good. Now let's discuss about what are the types of good. So, under the types of good, we are categorized into different types. First one is first type is existing good. Next one is future good. And last third one is contingent good. Now let's describe about each thing. What do you mean by existing good? What it means, where the goods are existed in the hands of a seller, where the transaction is being done immediately. For example, as I'm holding a chalk piece in my hand and as I'm a seller, I'll be the owner of this. So I can say that this good is existing good, where the good is in the hand of a seller. And if I transfer this good to another buyer, and in return, if I get a price for that good, means the sale of transaction will be done immediately here. Here, the thing for an existing good, the sale of transaction will be done immediately. And where the goods are in the hands of a seller, where it is existed in the hands of a seller, those goods are called a existing good here. And under the existing good, we have three types of goods. What are those goods? What are those types? The first type is specific good here. Specific good. What is the specific good? Where the buyer is asking from a seller on specific item. I need a red car. I need a yellow dress. I need a white chalk piece. Where the buyer is specifying about the object or product of which he wants. So here, by specifying the goods of a name, the seller will, for the seller it will become an easier to give to the buyer. So in the specific product, the buyer is going to mention about the product which he require to the seller, and seller is going to give that product to the buyer, in return something like consideration. That is a specific good. And next we have Next we have ascertained goods. See in specific goods we are mentioning about the product what we require here. But whereas here in ascertained goods, The goods will be identified only after the transaction is happened, after the sale of transaction is happened. How and how it does happen? Let's discuss. Suppose, ma'am, if one organization, one company is there where they require the raw material of wood. So they'll be sending their employee to one factory where they can get a raw material for a wood, for a manufacturing of chairs. They need a wood. For manufacturing of chairs, definitely we require raw material of wood. But here, the employee may not know what kind of a wood we require. So after going to the shop, he is unable to explain what he wants. But the supplier, the seller is known what he required. Why? Because as the seller and the organization is having a 10 years of bond where they are having a contract of 10 years, they are very known that what kind of a quality of a raw material that organization needs. So the seller will say to the employee who have sent by the organization, I have known the purpose of you. What you need, I know. So you pay the money and I'll send the raw material to the organization. So here what happened here, the transaction has been completed here, but the goods have been identified after the transaction is happened only. So we can say with this example that a certain goods are identified after the transaction has been completed. And next one is unascertained goods. Unascertained goods. What do you mean by unascertained goods? Means just opposite to the ascertained. In the ascertained, we are coming to know, at least after the transaction, we are coming to know about the product. But here in unascertained, even after completion of the transaction also, we are not able to know what kind of a product are we getting. For example, let me give you, if suppose in one godown, as there were number of bags where the buyer is willing to get one bag from them. So what kind of a bag a seller will give without any intention, without giving any explanation? He cannot give. So unless until if he is going to give a clear description about the product which he wants, the seller can give. Unless if it is not providing the clear description, the seller may not give the exact product. Why? Because there will be a different quality of weight bag. There will be 25 kgs, there will be 50 kgs, there will be 100 kgs. And one bag will have a high quality and one bag will have a low level quality. So they may not get exact product what they wish to. But in this uncertain cases, they may be getting the product after the description, only with the description of the product. Though only with the description of the product only the transaction will be done here in unasserted. Here in existing good, the existing goods are which is happened, which is there in the hands of the seller. Under the existing, we have three types: specific, unascertained and unascertained. In specific goods, where the buyer is expecting only the specific item by mentioning it clearly. And next one is ascertained, where a buyer is coming to know about the product after the transaction is been done, where the goods are identified after the transaction is been done. And last one is unascertained. Here, after the transaction also, the buyer may not know what kind of a good is. Only they can be known with the description. This is about the existing good. And what about the future good? Future good means the transaction which is happening for the future time. For example, if I have a contract with some X person that I says that as I am a seller, I says to the buyer that I will transport, I will sold the 1,000 chairs which I am going to manufacture for coming year, like 2021. So in 2024 January I'm going to manufacture it, and in February I'm going to transport it. So here the transaction is being done for the coming year, for the future time. So we can say that the future goods means the transaction which is happening for the future time is called a future good. And what do you mean by contingent good? Contingent good means here the thing may or may not happen. We have a chances of 50-50. If it is happen, will become a sale of transaction. It will completely close of sale of transaction. If does not happen, there will be closing of contract. And why it won't happen? Let me give you an example. See, as I'm a buyer from this country and my seller is from another country, and she has to transport the goods which I needed through waterways like ship. So something like in waterways means there is much scope for the loss to the happen, for the damage to the happen. If something happens suddenly in the middle of the sea, the goods will be destroyed. The goods will be get damaged. So in that case, I will not receive the goods which I want. So that is the contingent goods, where the product is having a 50-50 chances, may